Hi, I'm Mark Burgess from Flashback Records, and I'm here to have a chat with Bunny. Bunny set up Urbankelt some years ago now, so tell us how it all came about.
Yeah, Urbankelt just happened really. I guess it kind of grew organically. I'm from the Midlands, but I grew up with a very proud and very passionate Welsh and Irish family, and I've probably done everything you can imagine: playing the baron, playing the tin whistle, East Irish dance, sang in the Welsh choir. And I guess as I was getting older, I was seeing more modern things in different cultures and wondering why Celtic was still in the past, even though it's a beautiful thing. Just felt there was a need to bring it into our generation.
And to make it more relevant.
Yeah. And ironically, there's kind of a Celtic renaissance going on again, which happened earlier on in the century. A lot of bands are producing tracks in their language and giving them more modern, up-to-date feel. So it basically started with a YouTube channel, and I think it was called Celtic Cousins, and I started collecting modern music, Irish influence, Welsh, Scottish, and then the odd track would appear in the language. So I started to collect them just for myself. Then I got followers and people from South America, Brazil, and I saw that there was something there that I had to work on. And then there is a big gap where Urbankelt just appeared. Even the name, I was thinking of a name, and Urbankelt reflects. If you look at the spelling, I've spelt it with a K because the word Celtic comes from the Greek word Keltoi, which they coined us with.
Because the Celtic people, we here in the British Isles think of them as the people on the margins of the British Isles, but there's Celtic people all across Europe, aren't there?
Yeah, I mean, in the history, the Celtic Empire went from, I think, as far as Turkey, and the last remaining living languages is obviously on the fringe of the British Isles.
Yeah, and also I was in northern Spain at one point, and there's a big Celtic sort of tradition there, and they used to trade with Southern Ireland being directly north of the northern coast of Spain.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely connections.
Well, that's funny because I was unaware of northern Spain being Celtic until I went over there to see a friend, and I heard every single pub I went in, I heard Celtic music, and I went to one of the bar people and said, why are you playing Irish music? It's like, oh no, we are. And he gave me a quick, brief history of how they see them, in like Astoria and Galicia, of their roots, and they feel they're very strongly Celtic.
Yeah.
And so again, I started collecting music. Heavier is one of them. There's quite a few Celtic bands, but they play modern music. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. I remember seeing a band called Celtes Cortos.
Yeah.
Who were around. That's quite some time ago now, but that was taking the sort of Celtic roots but bringing it up to date. Using more modern rock instruments and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and of course, because of the internet, it's bringing everyone together. So we're rediscovering, like Cornwall's discovering their closeness to Welsh and Brittany, which they were probably unaware of because they've been separated for hundreds and hundreds of years. And all this music is coming up. Dom Duff, who else is there? There's loads of them. There's too many to name, obviously. But yeah, it's just the similarities between the music and the languages is just bringing everyone together because of the internet. It's great. So I think the time is really, really right for the Celtic scene.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was going to ask about the cultural influences, but you sort of covered that.
There is so many. Yeah, there's so many, and like I said, there's so many bands now are reaching back to their roots and bringing it into the mainstream.
Like, and how does it fit into a term I hate, but for convenience sake, how does it fit into the sort of world music scene? because there's lots of different cultures within world music, and it seems a bit odd to sort of lump them all together. But and you're bringing it sort of very much up to date with the sort of modern Celtic sound. How does that fit in with what's happening in world music, do you think?
I guess what Urbankelt, the idea of it is I'm bringing, like I said earlier, people that were separated together again, which is what's happening anyway. So I'm not saying that I'm the one doing it, but it's just bringing Galicia, Isle of Man, Cornwall, Wales, Scotland, Brittany together as a kind of a movement of sound.
Do you find that the musical language is very similar in the way that the spoken languages are similar?
Yeah, absolutely. There's melodies, like when I went to Galicia, I was like, I know this is Celtic, I recognise it, I recognise the melodies and the tunes, but I don't recognise the sound as much, if you know what I mean. There was influences there, but there was something different, which I was wow.
Which is taken from the indigenous area.
Which is carried on over the centuries and just slightly, developed and grown, obviously.
In different ways, yeah. Yeah, fantastic. And so, some people might say, well, why do you need to bring it up to date? They're perfectly happy with, the traditional music and the jigs and reels and all of that, and that's what we love about Celtic music. Why do we need to modernise it? Why do we need to keep it alive, keep it up to date?
I guess it's just happening anyway. And with Urbankelt, I'm just making it, I'm just bringing it all together into one thing, because we also do the traditional route, so we do regular sessions. We do language. We hark back to the past, but we also bring in a new scene. So, and there's so many genres out there, and like Wales especially, it's so strong. There's so many influential bands, and there's definitely, it's just sort of happening organically. It's just a movement that's already there, and it's just good timing for Urbankelt. So
right. And so what does Urbankelt do in terms of putting on gigs, exhibitions, or whatever? What's the main thing? How if people want to go and see these bands or want to get involved, how do they do it?
Well, obviously jump onto urbankelt.com, but we put events on every single month. In the most crazy scenario was we did 26 events in 1 month, which was madness. Yeah. I can imagine, yeah. And Urbankelt seems to be growing on its own accord. So now we do comedy nights, film nights. So it's not just about the music. It's going culturally in every kind of, all the kind of entertainment. So there is definitely a movement happening on its own.
Yeah. And do these events happen mainly in London, or?
Mainly in London, because that's where we're based. Yeah. But there's record labels in Wales and Ireland that have got in contact, and now we're very close to them, and they want to bring us over there, and we bring the bands over to London. And that's kind of what Urbankelt does, I guess, is take bands that are amazingly talented, but they will just be from a village, and they will play to them. There's a maximum amount of people that's going to see them, and I see their potential. I think, right, let's get them to London. I'll do everything in my power to bring them over and get seen on a bigger audience. Yeah,
cool. And so, what's the next project coming up?
There's lots of projects coming up.
Good. There should be.
Now managing bands, we started with an amazing band from Cornwall called the Grenaways, and they themselves are bringing more Cornish influences in, so they've started recording tracks in the Cornish language. The main singer's from Scotland,
right?
Really. And
so how does he get on with the Cornish language?
He's like it's natural, yeah. And then other bands have got in contact from Brittany and in various places, which we're gonna do what we can to take them on board.
Right.
So the family's growing. And
do you manage these bands, or just give them a one-off chance, or what? How does it work?
Yeah, manage and promote them, support them, get them seen.
And so is that just in London, or do you sort of promote them to play in Scotland or play?
Oh
in
yes,
Wales,
yeah, it's the whole, like the Grunaways in particular. Last year we did a tour, and that's what we do, is we take them to different cities. Last year it was 11 cities across the UK. So,
right. Okay.
And now we've got bands coming over from America, Australia, and we're working with them. We've got a massive tour coming up with the Rum Jacks, the Mahones, and we work with all of those.
Right. Because there's obviously a big Irish scene in America that everyone knows that, you know, supposedly more Irish people in America than there are in Ireland. Is that the same in Australia?
Yeah, I think.
Or Celtic, not necessarily.
I just think there's a cultural awareness at the moment. I think people are looking back to where they're from, and I think there's a real notion of roots at the moment. So I think, I think it's always been there, but I think again because the internet, it's an awareness
people to connect with. Yeah, it's little pockets that have suddenly sort of connected and grown into something bigger. Yeah, cool. And and in terms of other Celtic bands or other Celtic organisations, or how within the rest of that sort of framework?
At the minute, it's really, really good because we're connecting with other Celtic groups. We have the Curnow in the City, which is the London's Cornish Festival. Yeah. So we're now partnered with them. We've partnered with the London Welsh Centre, the London Irish Centre. In London itself, we've kind of created a Celtic social, we call it social network as opposed to network, and we work together and we do lots and lots of events. The London Celtic Punks, which is Celtic punk music. We work with the Pogue Traders, who are endorsed by the Pogues. So all in London itself, we're all coming together as a unit, and I think it makes it stronger, and I think it makes the movement stronger. And I think it's really
it's encouraging that these organisations are all sort of pulling together, because you could imagine that they each have a little sort of scene of their own, and a bit of sort of jealousy.
Yeah, absolutely not. No, we're all family. Absolutely all family, and it's this little family that we're creating is stretching all across the UK. Yeah. And Ireland, because we're connecting with everyone and we're all working together, and we'll even text each other or Facebook message each other and like, oh, do you know we need a band for this? I'm like, oh yeah, 1 second, and if I need something I'll ask them. And absolutely, it's a really, really powerful movement of music and culture, and it's fun times. Yeah.
So it sounds like it's all growing. How long are you going to be able to sort of keep a lid on it yourself, and before you have to employ a big team of people?
Yeah, I must admit it's been a struggle, because I was working alone for quite a few years, and people had popped in and out and helped me out, and filming and recording, and I've now got an amazing assistant called Tiffany Goodman, and she's works in the music industry, and again it's brought people in, and just in the last couple of months it's excelled a bit too fast, to be fair, to handle, but it's fun, and we've got a little celeb following going on. Oh, yeah. Can't name drop, I'm afraid.
Oh, go on.
No.
There's only me and you here, come on.
I'll tell you after the show.
Okay.
So it's it's definitely growing. It's real fun times, and I think where Urbankelt sits, it sits with all the other ones, and there's definitely something really beautiful and really amazing happening, and we're all really enjoying it. It's great. Fantastic. Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps it up. Thanks very much to Bunny from Urbankelt for coming and telling us all about it, and best of luck for the future.
God made a maggot, as thank you in Irish.
Excellent.
Diolch yn fawr. I could go on.
Go on. Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.